were singing this song, it says the cross has made a way that we can enter in and go back to the garden once again. And I've sung this song for a lot of years. I've heard it like probably about a decade or so ago. And it never actually hit me how profound this song actually was until recently. And it's just been wrecking me with the reality of that it's confronting us with. It's this idea that the sacrifice now allows us to enter back into the hedge that we were once cast out from, to walk face to face with God in the cool of the day. That the veil of his flesh was torn so that we can now enter through him and his blood and be presented before God himself, completely free of any spot or blemish, because the veil of his flesh is the thing that makes us clean. And so as we sing worthy, worthy, worthy is the Lamb, we sing worthy because he's made us worthy, worthy, worthy. And so I just want to embrace, as we sing this song, the beautiful, mystical, mysterious nature of what it is to be able to go before God, and not only that, be a child of him, of his same substance, and be one with him where he is, as he is. So let's just really meditate on that as we go in.
Sins he became, so I could be like him, to go beyond the veil and see his face. And oh, the cross has made a way so we can enter it, to go back to the garden once again. Oh, the cross has made a way. Forever I will say, worthy is the Lamb that was slain. And in a garden we fell, but in a garden he prayed, not my will, but yours be done. In my sins he became, so I could be To receive the I've set before you, I'll rip them all down. My pride and all I wanted, to my family and the rewards you've given, I'll lay it all down. All my money and success, all the people that I love, I'll lay them all down. You know those are more than just words. Here they are before you. I laid them all down. You alone can see my heart call, so I bear it all before you now. Take me back to the river where I first fell in love. Wash me deep in those waters, the crimson channels of your heart. Would you take me back to the river where I first fell in love? Wash me deep in those waters, the crimson channels of your heart. So I was made a new creation, one who sings his Father's song, will play a tune in perfect harmony. Nothing can keep me from his love. Song will play a tune in perfect harmony. Nothing can keep me from his love. Nothing can keep me from his love. to the river where I first fell in love. Wash me deep in the waters, the crimson shadows of your heart.
All right, guys, end of the year, I want to kind of bring our attention to some finances and a few opportunities for giving. Number one, for tithes and offerings, just continue to give your tithes and offerings. Continue. Don't forget to do that. The ministry that we do through the refinery, as well as the ministries that we do overseas, and I'm gonna highlight in just a second. All those benefit from the fact that you're generous with your finances. And so God's honored in that, and we're honored in that. We're just glad to partner with you in that. So 3 things I want to highlight. Number one, I want to highlight Ken and Jen Arrington in Wells. They've got some expenses coming up, probably first quarter of the year. They'll be flying back to the States, so they got some plane tickets they have to invest in, a couple of $1,000s, probably $3,000 or $4,000. And then they have to renew their visas later in the year, and that'll be probably $10,000, $12,000. So that's one place. Secondly, we have Pastor Joey in Cuba. We've been partnering with him for a couple of years now. I've been going down there back and forth. He continues to send me updates. They're continuing to grow the church. So I think they've planted over 25 house fellowships, similar to what we're doing right now, in different places in the city and out from the city, as well as they've actually entered into a new building there as well that they're actually being able to use. What we're going to focus on there for Pastor Joey is that he's looking to buy a car. He needs a car in order to get to all these places, and it's going to be the most effective way. And so he's got to raise $25,000 to get it, which you kind of go like, that's a lot of money. But listen, it's Cuba. Cars are at a premium. And so right now he's almost halfway there. And so I just want to encourage us, if you want to give there, that's another spot. Thirdly, our domestic partner local here is Rise Up Community Farm, Mary Carl and Daniel Fisher. And they've got we just need to invest in them. Like, just begin to ask God, how do you want me to invest in them locally? They're looking at another plot of land at some point soon, probably first quarter or first half of the year. So the investment of pulling that piece of property up and getting it going, as well as the continual investment to just support the ministry itself, day-to-day operations. So that's another place. So this is how you can give. Go online, go to the Give button, and if you look right there where it says Tithes and Offerings, you can click that button and it'll show all the ministries underneath it. You'll see one for Ken and Jen in Wells, for Mary Carl and Daniel Fisher for Rise Up Community Farm. You'll just click Domestic missions right there. And for Pastor Joey, if you'll just click Foreign Missions. And so it's easy to click. Just click and push right there. For Tithes and Offerings, obviously you just push that one button right there. It's very simple. But anyway, we appreciate your generosity, and the Lord has always been faithful to us. And so we're grateful for that. So pray and hear God's voice on it. Welcome everyone to Gather Groups. Glad to see you guys here again on Sunday. Listen, I want to cast some vision, or just realign us and just let us know what we're doing for the next couple of months, probably at least through March. Starting first of the year, we're going to be doing Sunday morning, the first Sunday of every month. We're going to be gathering in the building at 3834 Oleander Drive. So that's where we're going to be the first Sunday of every month. Then we're going to continue on and gather groups after that, because we believe that it's still important to continue to grow in community, to process the word in community, and to be deeply connected there. So that's kind of where we're going. So if you're kind of wondering what we're doing, and it's important, listen, it is important to show up on Sundays. If you can come on Sundays, to show and be there and invest. And then after that, invest in one another during the week. This is less about attendance, it's more about investing in one another. And so it takes a commitment to invest in one another. So I just want to kind of refocus us as we kind of go forward.
Jesus isn't mute and you're not deaf. Jesus isn't mute and you're not deaf. So guys, I want to jump in today and just encourage you, instruct you. It's going to be a little bit different, if that's okay. A little bit of instruction, because I know as a child of God, I want to hear the voice of the Father. I want to hear the leading and guiding of the Holy Spirit. So I'm going to share with you some practical tips to help you hear the voice of God. So if that's something that you're interested in, then I really want you to focus in on this today. And I want you to focus in on the relationship, because it's all about the relationship with you and Christ and the Father and the Holy Spirit within you that guides you and leads you. And if you can understand the relationship, you can understand that identity, then hearing the voice of God becomes something that happens every day, something that will be like a friend to you, that guides you and leads you. And I'm going to jump into John really quick, and then I'm going to share a simple story with you. One of the times that really helped me recognize God speaks to us and how He speaks to us as a son, as a daughter of God. And then I'm going to give you some practical applications. And I really want you to test this week. I want you to try this week. Make it applicable in your life, that you can hear the voice of God over big decisions, over small decisions, and even over things that you don't have to decide. And I want to start with that, because I think a lot of times we want to hear the voice of God about a job, a relationship, politics. What is God saying in this moment about something that's monumental in your life? But what is God saying about the things that you don't even care about? Because He cares about them. But we'll get to that in a few minutes. John 10:27, and I'm reading from the Passion Translation. It says, "My own sheep will hear my voice, and I know each one, and they will follow me." There's so much in that one verse. There's so much we can just take apart. My own sheep will hear my voice. That presupposes that He is speaking. As the great shepherd, He's speaking. And because we are the sheep, we're His children, we can hear Him. And it also says, and I know each one. I know each one. As you're watching this, the Lord has been speaking into your life. The Lord is speaking. The Lord will continue speaking. So we get the opportunity. We get the opportunity to learn how to tune in, how to really grab a hold of that voice and make sure it's the voice of the Lord, not the voice of the enemy, our own internal voice. And I'm going to share with you some practical tips on how to make sure you're hearing the voice of God and not those other voices. So let's go back into that one more time. John 10:27. My own sheep will hear my voice, and I know each one, and they will follow me. And this is the point of today's lesson: is Jesus isn't mute. He doesn't have laryngitis. So are we turning a deaf ear to Jesus? Because if He's always speaking, are we the ones that are missing it? And this isn't in condemnation. This is an opportunity for us to grow. Now, I'm going to go back in time really quick with you for about almost 30 years, not quite, but 20 plus years. And I got a phone call. Now, we're going to go back before cell phones. We're going to go back, well, at least I didn't have a cell phone. And we're going to go back before internet. And I got a call one evening. about 1 o'clock in the morning. I got a call, and it was my stepmother. And she said, "Wayne, I'm worried." And that's 2 words I never heard out of her my entire life. She was a very independent, very strong. I never heard those words. "Wayne, I'm worried. Your dad's missing." Well, he can't really be missing because I saw him just, earlier that day. But she said we had an argument. He's gone, and that was not uncommon. But he always came back. She said he's not come back, and I'm really beginning to worry about him. So again, no cell phones, no way of hopping on there, find my iPhone and see where he's at, or any of the cool technology we had today. So I had an option, and that was to roll over and go back to sleep, which I couldn't do because now I'm beginning to get worried. So I jumped up, got on my clothes, hopped in the car, and I didn't know what to do but drive by 2 of his friends that he had, drive by their house, see if his car was there, and they were not. And then I drove by this one, it was actually a truck stop that everybody went to. And you could get, you could get fuel for your car, you could get whatever you wanted, food. It had a little restaurant, and it was like a hangout. So I went by the truck stop. I didn't see them. I went in. "Have you seen my dad?" They all, small town, everybody knew everybody. "Haven't seen him, Wayne. Is everything okay?" Yeah, everything's great. So I jump back in the car, and I do another loop. I do that again. So now we're about an hour out, hour and a half out in the middle of the night, and I'm looking. And I give up. I don't know what else to do because I don't know where he's at. So I'm praying, "Lord, I pray that he's okay. I hope he's okay." And I'm coming home. I pull up to a blinking light, a little caution light. Take a left, go to my house. I'm a mile away. And just as I'm about to turn, I heard that still small voice. And I want you to understand this. The still small voice is just as important as a booming revelation. It's just as important as an angel coming before you. Many people discount the still small voice because it is not an angelic encounter. It's not the audible voice of the Lord. But in this case, it's what I needed to hear. And I heard very clearly, "Go straight." Now, again, we're in a little country town in Johnston County. I know what's straight. Nothing. It goes for about 2 miles, and then it comes to a T, and then there's nothing for probably 15 or 20 miles on either side. There's nothing there. I still remember the yellow light blinking and the turn signal. I can still remember, this is how powerful the Word of God is when it comes to the clicking of the turn signal. And I let off the brake and I hit the gas, I start to turn, and I heard it again, "Go straight." Now, I had been led by the Lord before. I'd had prophetic dreams, but this was unusual. Was this the voice of God, or was this Wayne? Was this the voice of God, or was this just me hoping? But there was nothing in me that wanted to go straight. But I knew the voice of the Lord was speaking at that moment. So I went forward. And even as I'm driving, I'm talking, aka arguing with God. "Lord, if this is you, I don't know where you're sending me. And if this is me, I'm going to ride down here, turn around, and go home." And I start driving, and I said, "Lord, where am I going?" How many of you talk to God that way? Just talk to him like he's sitting beside you. And I said it, but I really wasn't expecting an answer. But I wasn't expecting to hear "Go straight" either. "Lord, where am I going?" And that still small voice that for me was almost like a voice right here in the back of my head. "Go past a bridge and take a right." Well, I knew where the bridge was. It was the only bridge on that street. It was a little curve. I knew it because you had to slow down to go around it, because usually you just fly down that road. Okay, I know where the bridge is, Lord, but there's nothing to the right. That makes no sense. Now I'm certain this is not the voice of God. Wayne is making up voices in his head because it's 2:30 in the morning. But I can't turn around, so I keep on driving. There's the bridge. I see the bridge. I'm almost smirking at this voice in my head. And when I go by the bridge, I see to the right something I'd never seen. And I've been driving at this point 6 or 7 years, and I saw a path. But that's all it is. There's a soybean field. I don't remember if it was soybean or tobacco, but there's a field and there's a little path. And I thought, well, go over the bridge and take a ride. So I took a ride, and I'm going down this, and I even think, where am I going? Am I going to pull up in somebody's yard at 2:30 in the morning that doesn't want me there? Is this going to be just a field where I get stuck? I'm in a little Chevrolet Cavalier. I mean, I'm not in a truck or anything. It's a pretty rough-looking road. But I turned right. I understand this whole time, I don't know this is God talking to me. And as I go through, I look and I see a reflection. I go through the field, I go through some trees, and I see a little reflector. And I immediately think, I'm pulling up in somebody's home, I don't need to be here. But I pull up a little further, and there's a boat ramp I'd never seen in my life, and there is my dad's little red Honda. When I pull up, he looks at me and says, son, and I'll leave some of the words he said out, how did you find me? And I said, Dad, if I told you, you wouldn't believe me, because I didn't even believe it myself. But that gave me an opportunity to sit with my dad for a few hours until he sobered up and he got his mind straight, and we talked about his marriage. And it was probably the first time me and him talked about God. My dad was not a Christian, but that was an entry point. I was able to minister to him, and a boldness came upon me. Now, it was at least about 10 years later before he came to know Christ and was born again. But that was an entry point. Why do I tell that story? Because God cared about my father. Some drunk man mad at his wife that went and hid in a field. God cared about me. God cared about his wife that was calling looking for him. See, God cares about the little details in your life as well as the big details in the world. And that taught me how to hear the voice of God. Because I was not looking for an answer. Does that make sense? I'd already exhausted my answers. This friend's house, and the truck stop. So God was saying, okay, now listen to me. If I'd listened maybe an hour and a half earlier, I could have saved a lot of time. But the point is, we often go to the voice of God last because we're looking in the natural. But let's go back to Jesus. My sheep hear my voice. I know each one, and they will follow me. It's the voice of the shepherd. There's a situation that I don't want to share publicly just after this, though. Just after this. Very same thing. That still small voice gave me about 3 instructions, and it actually led me to a big revelation that was going on in my family. So the voice of the Lord's there. So what does this matter to you? How does this matter to you? And it's so you can learn how to hear the voice of God. Don't you think about something right now. Maybe it's something that's happening maybe it's the political, the political world. Maybe it's something in your own family. Maybe you got a bad report from the doctor. Maybe you've got a bad report from your job. Maybe you need a job. Whatever it is that's going on in your life right now, God is speaking. He's already speaking. I believe that. And I believe all we have to do is tune in, learn to hear. So instead of giving you another 23 verses on how to hear the voice of God, I want to give you something you can apply today. So if you're one of those that listen and you take notes, then great, take notes. If not, get up, grab a pen, whatever house you're at. I'm sure they have pen and paper, napkin, something, and write this down. Because this is going to help you if you actually apply this each day this week. And that is active listening and passive listening. God speaks both ways. And I want to share with you the difference in the two. 1 Samuel 3:10, Samuel said, now he's hearing the voice of the Lord. He doesn't know it's the voice of the Lord. And when he does recognize, like I recognize that was the voice of the Lord leading me to my father. Samuel said, speak, Lord, your servant is listening. That's something that we need to just grab a hold of. Speak, Lord, your servant is listening. And that was active listening. Now, active listening in the realm of therapy, sales, marketing, whatever it is listening to the person with absolute intent on hearing without bringing your own agenda. So if I'm listening, Lord, speak. But I've immediately got my own agenda, what I want to hear, what I think God is saying. then it will pervert what I think I hear, the message. But if I can say, Lord, speak, your servant, your son is listening. And then I learn to actively listen. And this is a challenge because we're not in a world today where we do actively listen. A lot of times we're spending, actually, if you go back and look at the research, about 45% of the time we're thinking of what we're going to say next. 45% of the time we're waiting to butt in to whoever's talking. Maybe 10% of the time we actively listen. So when it comes to God, we got to learn to pray and then simply listen. Meditate upon Him. Just be quiet. When something comes up in my life, small or big, I'm like, Lord, speak to me. Here I am. I'm listening. And then I quit uttering with my words. I pray from the heart, but I'm just listening. Lord, what are you saying? As Samuel did here. And then there's passive listening. And the distinction between those two is so great, but you've got to learn to walk in both. So, Lord, where's my dad? Where's he at? Where's he at, Lord? Go straight. Go past the bridge. Take a right. There he was. That was active listening, even though I really wasn't in a place of active listening at the moment. But that was hearing the voice in the moment. What do I do right now, God? And He tells you. He shares. He shows His love in that. Passive is, Lord, I don't know what to do here. And maybe you're in a situation where you don't have time to stop, separate yourself, go on a 3-day fast and listen to the Lord. Maybe it's a right now moment. Lord, I don't know what to do here. I need your help. And I believe He can speak, as my Father, actively then, but it could be passively over time. Another example is if I spend, maybe I do take 3 minutes, 10 minutes, 3 days, and I'm actively listening, I'm praying, and I don't hear an answer. That doesn't mean He's not speaking. It could mean I'm either able not to tune in, I'm not tuning in properly, or maybe it isn't for this moment. I think a lot of times we're demanding God for understanding on something. When the Word says, I'll give you peace that surpasses understanding. Let the peace work in your heart, and then I believe the understanding will come. But that's another sermon. So let's go back to this active and passive. So active is saying, Lord, I want to hear from you. We can do this right now in the home group you're in right now. Lord, and just with me, just close your eyes and just say, Lord, speak to me. Lord, tell me how much you love me. Lord, just share with me your love for me. Lord, share with me your love for my enemies. And just actively listen. Or even just say, Lord, what do you want to say? Eyes closed, prayer. Lord, what do you want to say today? Maybe it's a paragraph, maybe it's a word, maybe it's an image, but learning to actively listen. And if the active doesn't take place, you don't hear anything, then we go back to passive. Now, passive listening is when you say, Lord, I don't know what should I do. Should I take this job? Or should I start this business? Should I marry this person? Should I, start this ministry? And you're praying and you're listening and you don't hear. Now, the problem is a lot of people go, well, God didn't answer me. God doesn't speak. I don't hear God. And they dismiss it and they cut off the line of communication. Instead, say, Lord, thank you. I know you heard my prayer. I know you heard my prayer, and I know I'm your sheep. I know that you'll speak, and I'll hear your voice. And as you go, we see in the Word that many were healed. It says, and as they went, they were healed. It's that as they went. So as you go throughout your day, Lord, I thank you. I'm going to work today. I'm going to go spend time with my family. Whatever it is, thank you that you're going to speak to me. And that's when the word of confirmation may come. Maybe somebody that didn't know what you were praying for gives you a prophetic word, gives you an insight. Maybe you have a dream from the Lord. You're listening to the radio and this one verse from this one song you've heard 300 times just stands out. The Holy Spirit highlights it for you. That's passive listening. And if you'll learn to listen passively and actively together, then you will recognize Jesus doesn't have laryngitis and you do not have a deaf ear. We just have to learn how to tap into that. So if this is good, I hope this is something you actually apply. I want to give you a little bit of homework. So do this until next week and just see how it relates to you. See what happens. I want you to pick a topic. I want you to pick a topic that that you really care about. It could be family, it could be friends, it could be your own health. It could be anything that you really care about. And I want you to take time each day and say, Lord, I'm listening actively. What do you want to say to me about this? And set a timer. Set a timer on your phone. Say, Lord, for the next 5 minutes, I'm just going to sit here and listen. And when you're in total silence, waiting to hear from the Lord, 5 minutes can sound like a long time. The mind will flood in with thoughts. Be careful not to disregard every thought, because a lot of times the Lord speaks in those fleeting thoughts. But keep your focus upon, I just want to hear your voice, Lord. So that's something you care about. If you don't hear anything, that's great. Say, Lord, thank you that you heard me, and I know throughout the week you're going to confirm this word. You're going to speak to me in ways of confirmation or passively, maybe 3 days, maybe 5 days from now, maybe an hour. So do that every day about something you care about. Then I want you to ask them about something you don't care about. That doesn't mean something you don't like or that you have a problem with. Maybe just something that you have no interest in at all. So we all know without a doubt, Mark Tippett loves to fish. So he could say, Lord, what do you tell me about fishing? For me, I'm not really a fisherman. I tried, just really wasn't in there. But I could say, hey, Lord, what do you want to tell me? What's on your heart when it comes to, it may sound silly, but something like that, something about fishing. Or maybe one of the many projects my wife has going on. I really don't have a deep interest in that project. But Lord, she does. And if she does, you do. So why is that so interesting? Talk to me about that. And here's why asking the Lord about something that you don't really care about is so important. Because you do not flood your own emotions into it. You don't bring your own emotions into it. Because emotions will bring forth a lot of memories, and memories are sound bites and images, and all of that will flow through your brain, and you'll think, oh, that was the Lord. The Lord told me to do this. Maybe you didn't. So by asking them to talk about something you don't care about, actually teaches you to hear, oh, that's the voice of the Lord. Oh, that's the voice of the Lord. And you learn to discern the right voice. Another thing you can do is pick a Bible verse. So I'm going to end with this. Pick a Bible verse. In fact, I'll give you a couple to pick from. Mark 16:20. God confirmed the ministry. He confirmed his word by the working of signs and miracles through the disciples. Lord, tell me about that. Share that. What's your thoughts on that, Lord? 1 Samuel 3:10. Speak, Lord, your servant is listening. Just pick any Bible verse.